Now let's start with the topic at hand, that is logic and proofs. Okay, so logic and proofs is something which other institutes won't even talk about. They'll just start with some limits or something. But I believe logic and proofs is important. I still spend at least one class on this thing every time because I feel that logic and proofs give you the this is basically the language of math. ओके, दिस बेसिकली टेल्स यू कि मैथ में अगर मुझे कोई चीज लिखनी है तो मैं उसको किस तरह से लिखता हूँ या फिर उसको मैं किस तरह से पढ़ता हूँ. दिस इज समथिंग विच विल अंडरस्टैंड लॉजिक एंड प्रूफ्स. ऑल्सो वी अंडरस्टैंड इन जनरल व्हेन यू सी एनी प्रूफ, सो व्हाई इज दिस प्रूफ बीइंग डन इन दिस मैनर. इसको इस तरह से कैसे सोचा. सो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कीप आस्किंग मी. सो ISI हैज अ सब्जेक्टिव पैटर्न. ओके, सो ISI हैज टू एग्जाम्स. वन इज ऑब्जेक्टिव 2-hour 30 question, and another is subjective, in which you are supposed to do 4 questions in 2 hours. Now in the subjective question, in the math part, they ask proofs. So a lot of students, they come to me and they ask me कि ये proof ऐसे किया, ये कैसे सोचा किसने. Okay, so this proofs part will tell us कि the different techniques which you can use to build a proof, and फिर actual exam में किस type का proof यूज हो जाएगा, किस टाइप का प्रूफ से ये चीज प्रूव हो सकती है, वो थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस से आता है, थोड़ा हिट एंड ट्रायल से आता है. बट एटलीस्ट वी शुड नो द डिफरेंट टूल्स एट आवर डिस्पोजल व्हेन वी आर थिंकिंग अबाउट बिल्डिंग अ प्रूफ फॉर एनी पर्टिकुलर थ्योरम. So that's why I feel logic and proofs, though it's not something that all institutes teach, I always make it a point to teach it. Okay. So let's begin with logic and proofs. If you have any doubts, by the way, for those of you who joined late, if you have any doubts, you can just use the raise hand feature and I'll get a notification, then I'll allow you to speak, then your mic will turn on. Okay, otherwise you can just type any of, if the doubt is small, you can type it in the chat box. I have a separate screen next to me on which I continuously keep a tab on the chat box. So if you have any doubts, you can write it on the chat box or you can ask it to me by raising your hands. Okay, so let's start. Logic. So all mathematical proofs and arguments are based on statements which are declarative sentences or meaningful strings of symbols that can be classified as being true or false. So this is one thing about math, that everything is true or false. Things are not vague. Okay, for example, is Kareena Kapoor beautiful? Now, somebody might come and say that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So it becomes a subjective thing. Is Kareena Kapoor beautiful? Depends on, do you find her beautiful or not. So there's no correct or incorrect answer to this. But in math, things are always true or false. Okay, there's no scope for opinion in maths. Okay, so this is one thing which we need to understand, that things are always true or false when it comes to math. So it is not necessary that we know whether a given statement is actually true or false, but it must be one or the other and it cannot be both. Okay, so if I give you, let's say, 99 to the power 100 and 100 to power 99, so you know that these two numbers, they will either this will be greater or this will be greater. One of these two things has to be true. You cannot be like, okay, you might not know at this point of time which of these statements is true. Is 99 to power 100 greater or is 100 to power 99 greater? You do not know which of these two things is true, but you know for sure that one of these two things is true here. For example, the sentence chickens are pretty is a matter of opinion and not a statement in the sense of logic. So you might find chickens pretty, or you might be scared of them, or you might just think of them as food. I don't know, but it's a matter of opinion. But 99 to power 100 and 100 to power 99 में से कौन सा बड़ा है? This is not a matter of opinion. Okay, now some statements such as 1 plus 1 equals to 2 are always true, and they are called tautologies. So tautologies are statements basically for which nobody is going to ask you to prove karo. Okay, so if I ask you 1 plus 1 equals to 2, how will you prove it? I mean, if you think about it, you have to bring a pen and you have to told me one pen, फिर one pen को मैंने जोड़ा साथ में, it becomes two pen. That's how it was taught to us in the beginning. If you go back to your nursery textbooks or kindergarten textbooks, that's how it was taught to us. उसके अंदर drawings होती थी, one pen plus two pen becomes three pen. So this is essentially something which is nobody going to question it कि 1 + 1 2 है, तुम कैसे बता सकते हो मुझे? How do you prove it? So nobody is going to ask that proof. So these are things which everybody accepts are truth, and they are called tautologies. Now some statements such as 2 = 3 are always false. Nobody is going to tell you कि 2 = 3 prove करो कि ये false है. Okay, so these are always false. So they are called contradictions or falsities. Okay, so there are two kinds of statements: tautologies and contradictions. Now some statements such as x² = 1 are sometimes true and sometimes false. So these are neither falsities, neither tautologies. Okay, so if I tell you x² = 1, is this true or false? You will say it depends. Okay, it depends on the value of x. If x = 1 or x = -1, then this becomes true. If x is something else, let's say x is equals to 3 or any other number apart from 1 or -1, then it becomes false. So this is false otherwise. Hello Rohit, can you not see anything? Can other guys see the class? Then maybe it's an issue with your internet, Rohit. Maybe try connecting to your mobile internet or something, because other guys can see it. Okay. Or maybe try reconnecting. If it's an issue, then you can try reconnecting. Okay, so x² = 1 is something which may or may not be true depending on the value of x. Okay. All right. Now logically equivalent. So we say that two statements P and Q are said to be logically equivalent if P is true exactly when Q is true. Okay. So in this case, we often write P logically equivalent to P. So the example is X is Jawaharlal Nehru and X is the first Prime Minister of India. Okay. So these two things are same. Okay. So the logically equivalent funda is that these are, if you go for set theory, a lot of these things I'll explain through set theory. So let's say this is the set P and the set Q is completely coincidental with set P. Okay, so P and Q are the same set. Okay, so in that case, P and Q being the same set, every element in P is an element in Q. So P and Q become logically equivalent. For example, if you consider the set of presidents of India, as the set P, and set Q is the set of chancellors of Delhi University. Does anybody know who's the chancellor of Delhi University? Not the vice chancellor. Who's the chancellor of Delhi University? President. Okay, very good. So chancellors of all central universities are the president. Chancellors of all state universities are your governor. So if you talk about set, so since Delhi University is a central university, the set of all chancellors of Delhi University is going to be the set of presidents of India. Okay. So P, the set P will be equal to set Q, or the statement P. So statement P is, when you talk about statement, so X was a president of India, and statement Q is X was a chancellor of Delhi University. So statement P and statement Q are going to be the same thing. If X was a president, he has to be chancellor. He or she has to be a chancellor, and vice versa. So that's logically equivalent. to come in the realm of math, uh, if you talk about real numbers, then you can say x square equal to 4 is logically equivalent to mod x equal to 2. Okay, so if x ka square is 4, it should imply that mod x is 2 for x belonging to real numbers. So we will see a lot of these things. What is mod x? What is belonging to? What is this r? So some of you who might not know all these things, or you might have forgotten, we are going to revise these things as we go about when we reach set theory and everything. But these are two logically equivalent statements. So if the magnitude of a number is 2, its square is 4, and if the square is 4, its magnitude is 2. So that's logically equivalent statements. Okay. Right. Negation. Now, if P is a statement, then the negation is a statement denoted by not of P. It is true when P is false and false when P is true. Okay, so negation of a statement. So let's say, yes, Rohit. Hello, Rohit. Hello, Rohit. Are you with us? I think Rohit has a network connection issue. Okay. So negation. So negation is basically whenever P is true, negation of P becomes false. Whenever so it's basically not of P. Okay. So if statement P is, let's say, X, and a person X is a doctor, then negation of P is X is not a doctor. Yeah. Okay, now some important class of connections. So conjunctions and disjunction, these are how statements get connected. So if P and Q are statements, then the conjunction is the statement denoted by P and Q, which is true when both P and Q are true and is false otherwise. So a standard notation for the conjunction of P and Q is P and Q. So P and Q is conjunction is basically when two statements P and Q are both true. So to give you an example of conjunction, suppose statement P is X is a female and statement Q is X is a doctor. Okay, then P and Q basically implies that X is a female doctor. Okay. So how does it come into use? So in recent times, to give you a very recent example, you see people going on sale and buying products. So Amazon sets out this offer that if you're a Prime member and if you have a SBI card, then you get 10% discount up to 1500 rupees. Okay, so statement P. So a customer profile would have different elements about this customer. So statement P is basically the customer X is a Prime member, and statement Q is that the X is using SBI card. Okay, so in this case, if P and Q, so what the algorithm will check is, it will check if P and Q is true, then it will say that if P and Q statement, if you're a Prime member and you're using SBI card, then you get 10% discount. Okay. The other connection is disjunction. So disjunction is P or Q. and it is represented by this V kind of a structure, P or Q. Okay. So P or Q, what it implies is, so when you talk about P or Q, so either of these statements being true can help you. So let's say statement P now is X has ICICI card, and statement Q is X has Axis Bank card. So if you go to Flipkart, Flipkart says ki I don't care if you're a Plus member or not. If you have either ICICI or Axis Bank card, I will give you a 10% discount. So in that case, if P or Q becomes true, then you get a 10% discount. So different people are using these conjunctions and disjunctions in their algorithms. Okay, so it's not just something that we read to clear the exam. It is something which you are going to use when you do coding. When after masters, you are going to make models for these guys. Okay, you are going to work on things like this in real life. So at that time, a logic will come in handy. Okay, what kind of discounts do you want to give? Do you want to give discount to just Prime members, or do you want to give discount to everyone? So these things will come, will be things that you're going to use a lot, or maybe you already use it. It's just that you don't know about it. Okay. All right. So to contrast disjunctive or conjunctive statements from math, note that the statement 2 less than root 2 and root 2 less than 3 is false. Okay, so statement P is 2 less than root 2 and statement Q is root 2 less than 3. So I know that this statement P is false because 2 is greater than root 2, and this statement Q is true. Why can't, okay, Nivya has a doubt, why can't we use equal sign whenever we've used equivalent sign? So when we compare statements, so equality is used for numbers. Okay, equality is used for numbers. So I cannot, I cannot say that, I cannot say that A is equal to B. Okay, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean by A equal to B? Okay, if A and B were numbers, then A equal to B would mean that the number A is equal to number B. So they are both either 2 or they are both equal to 3. Now it makes sense to you, but it will not make sense to the other person. So like I said, logic is language of math. So whatever you are writing should be understandable to somebody who's reading it in, let's say, Germany. If there's a person in Germany who does not know your language, has never met you, so you write a research paper and send it across to that person, he's reading it, he should make sense of it. He should be able to understand. Okay, so when I write A equal to B, it automatically implies that A and B are either numbers or vectors which are absolutely equal. But when I write A equivalent to B, I am implying that A and B are two conditions or statements which are equivalent, logically equivalent to each other. Okay, so this is the reason why we use equivalent and equal to signs. So whenever you get any doubts about any of the signs that I'm using, then you can just ask me that doubt. I'll clarify it. Okay, so this is one of the good doubts. I also had it when I was a kid कि equally कर दो, एक extra डंडा क्यों लगा रहे हैं यहाँ पे, 3 डंडे क्यों लगा रहे हैं. So this is the reason we use it. ठीक है. Okay, so P is a statement which is false, Q is a statement which is true. Okay, so one of the statement is false, another is true. So P or Q becomes true because P or Q is true if any of the two statements becomes true. Either you have an Axis Bank card or you have a ICICI Bank card. But P and Q, this will be false because P and Q becomes true if and only if both the statements are true simultaneously. So in this case, P is false, so that's why P and Q becomes false. But Q is true, so that's why P or Q becomes true. Okay, so to construct a simple matrix, if you are considering two statements, P and Q, So P has two options, either to be true or false, and Q has two options, either to be true or false. Okay, so you have in all four different possible situations. Okay, so if both are true, then P and Q is true and P or Q is also true. Whereas when both are false, in that case both are untrue. But when one is true and the other is false, in that case P or Q is still true. In this case, when both are false, neither of the statements are true. In this case, both the statements are true, whereas in these two cases, just P or Q is true. Okay. All right. Now, De Morgan's laws. These are an important set of laws. They say that negation of P and Q is logically equivalent to negation of P or negation of Q. Okay. So, in terms of, so let's go to Venn diagrams. So what does it mean P and Q? So this is a set of people who satisfy P. Let's say P is set of doctors and Q is set of females. Okay, so I don't like this circle. I'll construct good circles for you, since this is one of the few days, initial days of the batch. So I take a lot of effort to draw circles, and after some time I also get tired of all these features. But yeah, this is a set P, this is a set Q. So this is the set of all doctors, and this is the set of all females. So that P or Q is basically this set. All these people are people who are either doctors or females, but P and Q is just this set. This is the set P and Q, which is basically female doctors. Okay. So in Venn diagram, so in De Morgan's law, we say that negation of P or Q. Negation of P or Q means, let's say P or Q was female or doctor. So negation of P or Q means you are not a female or a doctor. Okay? So I'm neither a female nor a doctor. So suppose there's a cab which says that the fourth seat in the cab, so there are 4 seats in a cab, one is driver, then 2 behind seat. The front seat in this cab is reserved for female or doctor. Now this cab driver says that I'll only accept a female or a driver in the passenger seat here. So in this case, if the cab driver rejected you, it means that you negated your statement, your condition negated P or Q. Okay, which means that negation of P and negation of Q, which means that you were neither not doctor and not female. Because if you had been either of these things, the cab driver would have accepted you in this front seat. But because the cab driver rejected you in the front seat, it means you are not a doctor and you are not a female. Because had you been a female or a doctor, the cab driver would have accepted you in this seat. So this is a very important statement. The notice that the negation, it changes the conjunction. So it changes the disjunction to disjunction to conjunction in this case. So negation of P or Q is logically equivalent to negation of P and negation of Q. So notice how this or becomes converted into and this negation, it spreads over both the statements individually. Okay. The next part, the next extension of De Morgan's laws is the mirror of this thing. So negation of P and Q is logically equivalent to negation of P or negation of Q. So notice again how and becomes or here. So let's say you did not get a discount with Amazon. Okay, so Amazon was giving discount if you were a Prime member and you had a SBI card. Okay, so you had to satisfy both these conditions. So if you did not get a discount, means there was negation of P and Q, which means either you were not a Prime member or you were not using a SBI card. In either of these situations, you will not get a discount. Okay, that's De Morgan's laws. Any doubts till now? No, I take it as a no, since nobody is asking a doubt. Okay, so let me proceed. Implications. So implications are basically something implies something. So if P then Q. So P implies Q is written as if P then Q, or just P implies Q in words. So let's say the statement P is X is a doctor, and statement Q is X is a graduate. So if X is a doctor, then X has to be a graduate, right? So P implies Q, so that is obviously true. In terms of Venn diagrams, what it looks like is, sorry. Yeah, in terms of Venn diagrams, what it looks like is this is the set P, and outside it would be the set Q. P implies Q. So P implies Q means P has to be a smaller set. So you see, doctors, the set of doctors is smaller than the set of graduates, right? You and I are all graduates, or some of you are going to be graduates soon. So the idea is graduates, the set of graduates is always going to be larger than the set of doctors. Doctors is going to be a smaller set. Okay, so P implies Q. This is how you can represent it in Venn diagrammatic terms. Okay. So here P is called the hypothesis and Q is called the conclusion or the implication. We observe that the definition P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P and not Q. Okay, so what I am claiming is P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P. Negation of P and not Q. Okay, so my claim is that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P and not Q. P and not Q. Okay, so this is what I am claiming, that negation of P. So P implies Q should be negation of P and not Q. So remember, this is the set P and this outside one is the set Q. So what is P and not Q? So let's go back to the example that P was X is doctor and Q is X is graduate. Okay, so P and not Q का implication होगा X is doctor but not a graduate. Okay, it's not possible. It's absurd that you're a doctor but you're not a graduate. Okay, so this thing is definitely false. So that's why we say negation of this thing. So negation of X is a doctor but not a graduate. In Venn diagrammatic terms, what this implies is that the point that you're considering lies in P but lies outside Q. So as you see the structure, it's not possible to consider any point which is lying inside the blue circle but outside the green circle. Right? It's not possible. So P and not Q, that you're inside P but you're outside Q, is not possible in this particular situation, because P is a circle or set which is completely enclosed within the outer Q set. So P and not Q is definitely not true. So negation of P and not Q is true, and that is logically equivalent to P implies Q. So P implies Q means that every point in P should be included in Q. So there should be no point which is inside P but outside Q. Okay, so if you have a situation like this where you have some point in P which is outside of Q, then P does not imply Q. Then you have here a doctor who's not a graduate. Okay, which is wrong. You should not go to such a doctor who's not a graduate. Okay, so this is not correct. Right, so such a thing will not happen. So that's why we say that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P and not of Q. Okay, so this is an important thing to understand, how P implies Q is logically equivalent to P and not of Q. Now let's come to the next example. Show that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P or Q. Okay, so this is something I've done. My question is, show that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of P or Q. Okay. So I have already proved this thing. Now see that in this case, if I apply De Morgan's law, I can reach here. Okay, so negation of A and B was negation of A or negation of B. Right, so negation of P and negation of Q will be equivalent to negation of P or negation of Q. And negation of Q is nothing but Q. Alright, so this thing is logically equivalent to this and this thing is logically equivalent to this. So this thing becomes logically equivalent to this, and that is your proof. Okay, so I'll be sharing a test after this lecture, shortly after this lecture. The deadline would be Friday. In that test, you will have some simple questions like this which you need to solve. Okay. Now, contrapositive. So, contrapositive basically says that the implication P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of Q implies negation of P. Okay, so this is contrapositive. So, what is contrapositive? Contrapositive says that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of Q implies negation of P. So how does it do that? So P implies Q means that the set P is completely inside the set Q. What it means is negation of Q. So negation of Q means that a point which is outside Q has to be outside P. Okay, so this thing basically says that if you're not in Q, if you're not satisfying Q, you're not satisfying P. This says that if you're satisfying P, you're satisfying Q. So these two things are same. So to understand, consider this example. Statement P is I am in Mumbai, and statement Q is I am in Maharashtra. Okay, so if I am in Mumbai, I am in Maharashtra. And if I am not in Maharashtra, negation of Q means not of I am not in Maharashtra. So if I am not in Maharashtra, then I am not in Mumbai. Okay, so it brings you back to that classic movie Andaz Apna Apna, where Salman Khan asks Amir Khan ki ye topi tumne न्यूयॉर्क से खरीदी है क्या? देन आमिर खान सेज नहीं, मैंने अमेरिका से खरीदी है. ओके, सो दैट्स द जोक देयर. ठीक है, दैट इफ यू बॉट इट फ्रॉम नहीं, ही आस्क्ड अमेरिका से खरीदी है क्या, तो उसने बोला कि नो, मैंने न्यूयॉर्क से खरीदी है. सो दैट्स द जोक देयर, दैट इफ यू हैव बॉट इट फ्रॉम न्यूयॉर्क, देन यू हैव बॉट इट फ्रॉम अमेरिका. If you have not bought it from America, you have not bought it from New York. Okay, so that's That's the idea here. That if you're not in Maharashtra, you're not in Mumbai. So this is a contrapositive statement. Now, how it comes handy is if somebody asks you to prove P implies Q, you can as well prove negation of P implies negation of Q implies negation of P. Okay, so instead of proving this, you can prove this because these two things are logically equivalent. So we'll see how this works in one of the examples that we do with proofs. Now another thing related to implications is converse. Okay, so a converse is something which is the reverse of an implication. So if P implies Q is a statement, then its converse is Q implies P. Now these two things need not be logically equivalent. Okay, so an implication and its contrapositive are always logically equivalent, but an implication and its converse need not be always true. Okay, so consider this example that consider the same example, Mumbai and Maharashtra example. If I am in Mumbai, I am in Maharashtra. The converse would be if I am in Maharashtra, I am in Mumbai. That's not true. I could be in Nagpur, I could be in Pune. So if I am in Maharashtra, it does not mean I am in Mumbai. So the converse of this thing is not true. Okay. When is the converse true? Okay. So if P implies Q is true and Q implies P is true, then these two things together imply that P is logically equivalent to Q. Alright, so statement P is X is the President of India and statement Q is X is Chancellor of Delhi University. So in this case, P implies Q is true, Q implies P is true, and that's why P is logically equivalent to Q. If you are the President of India, you are Chancellor. If you are Chancellor, you are President. So the set of President and Chancellor is the same set. Right? Alright, now context and quantifiers. So this just says that you should always keep in mind what is the context that you're talking about. So if I ask you solution for x square equals to 1, you can give me multiple solutions. Somebody will say x equals to 1. Somebody will say x equals to plus minus 1. Okay, somebody would say it is basically plus minus 1 or so somebody would say plus minus 1. So these are two different answers somebody would give. This is because I did not specify what am I looking for. Am I looking for only positive numbers or I am looking for all sorts of numbers? If I am looking for, let's say x is the quantity of a good that you can consume, then obviously this is the answer. But if x is just any solution to this equation, then it can be negative as well. But quantity cannot be negative, right? So this would be true if x is, let's say, quantity of a commodity. So the context has to be clear. This is the bottom line of this particular thing. So you should always specify what is the context. So when we talk about context, there are going to be primarily three types of things for us: R, R plus, and R plus plus. So let me specify what are these things. R is basically the set from negative infinity to infinity. The entire set, all the numbers. R plus is the set from 0 to infinity. 0 included, infinity not included. And R plus plus is the set from 0 to infinity, where 0 is also included. So as far as economics is concerned, mostly we talk about R plus when we're talking about quantity of commodities, and we talk about R plus plus when you're talking about prices. We don't allow prices to be 0 sometimes. Prices and quantities can be 0, so we allow for 0. So when you talk about quantities, it's mostly going to be R plus. When you talk about prices, it's going to be R plus plus. And for math in general, it's going to be R. If you're just doing a question in mathematics, the x and y's are going to be all possible values, positive, negative, everything included. All right. Okay, now Quantifiers. So there are two kinds of quantifiers, for all and there exist. Okay. Uh, so let's say I make a very general statement that all politicians are corrupt. Okay. Then you would come and say कि no, हमारे एरिया का जो MLA है is very clean and tidy and वो सब. You have negated my statement. I made a claim. I said that for all politicians, P is corrupt. Okay. So I made a generic statement. So you found a negation to this statement by finding one counter example of maybe one politician in your area who is non-corrupt. So सारे politician चोर होते हैं, इस kind का statement हम लोग normal when we are talking we can make these statements, but when you're talking about maths you cannot make such statements. You cannot say that for all x square is positive. For all x, again I did not specify, for all x belonging to R, x square is positive. This statement, is it true or false? And if it is false, can you give me a counter example? Can you give me a counter example for this statement if you feel it's a false? If you feel it's true, just write down in the chat box that you feel it's true. If you feel it's false, then you need to give me a counter example. Fraction. What fraction? Can you give me a fraction जिसका square is not positive? Aryan says it's true. Okay. Okay. So there are a lot of people here. So I want everybody to give me an answer. And if everybody just usually what happens is कि मैं ऐसे question जब पूछता हूँ तो a lot of people just start leaving the live class. I see 2 people have left the live class right now. I want everybody to give me an answer. Okay, Ajit. So Ajit has given me the right answer. Thanks, Ajit. X equals to 0 is a counter example. So X belongs to R, but X square is not positive. Okay, it's 0. Okay, I did not write X greater than equals to 0. Had I written X greater than equals to 0, then it would have been true. But I wrote X square greater than 0. So that's why this statement is false. Okay, so thanks Ajit. So Ajit has given the correct answer that this statement is actually false. Okay, but suppose I write down that there exists X belonging to R such that X square is less than equals to 0. Is this statement true or false? True, okay. Tanvi and Ajit feel it's true. I'm waiting for others to answer. I have a lot of time to wait because I don't have to appear for any exams. Okay, so the longer you make me wait, the longer this course goes on for. So I want people to answer. There are 17 people, yeah. I have seen only 2 answers. So okay, so mostly this exercise is basically to make you guys understand कि chat box कैसे work करता है, and this is how we are going to use it later on. See, the problem is that I don't see your footage, so बीच बीच में तुम जागे हो कि नहीं ये चेक करने के लिए मैं सवाल पूछता रहता हूँ to make sure कि तुम लोग हो with me. So yeah, this is true because x equals to 0 के लिए this will become true. So this is basically the idea. You need to take care of for all and there exists. Okay, so for there exists, even if there is one thing which satisfies that condition, that statement becomes true. But for all, everything has to satisfy. So if you can find a counter example, you can disprove that statement. Okay, so let's come to this example. This example says that there exists y such that for all x, x plus y becomes equal to 0. So this statement in terms of words can be read as there exists an integer y such that for every integer x, x plus y will become 0. ठीक है? So the idea is there कहीं पे एक ऐसा नंबर छुपा हुआ है दुनिया में. ठीक है? So when you're talking about x and y, they are all belonging to R. Okay, so I told you the default is R. Default for math is R. Default for quantities R plus, and default for prices is R plus plus. Okay, so that is sorted. So if the context is not given in math, you are going to assume it to be R. So इस रियल नंबर्स में कोई एक नंबर छुपा हुआ है y, जिसको किसी भी नंबर से ऐड करो तो तुम्हें हमेशा 0 मिलेगा. That's the feeling here, that there exists some number, some real number somewhere, which when added to any number always gives a summation 0. So my question to you is, okay, the answer is already written here. So that this statement is, okay, we had to consider this statement also. Okay, let's consider these statements side by side. Okay. What was the statement? There exists y. So statement 1 is for all x, there exists y such that x plus y becomes equals to 0. And the second statement is, मैं बस इन दोनों को रिवर्स कर दूंगा. Alright, the second statement is there exists y such that for all x, x plus y becomes equals to 0. Okay. So this statement says कि कोई भी x ले लो, उसके लिए उस x के लिए एक ऐसा y मिल जाएगा जिसमें x plus y becomes equals to 0. Okay. Ansika says x equals to 2. Yeah, you can take x equals to 2. So if you take x equals to 2, I'll take y equals to minus 2. Then x plus y becomes 0. Okay, yeah. So that's absolutely true. So this is basically the concept of love stories. कि हर किसी के लिए कोई ना कोई बना है. ठीक है? So such that when you add these two people, you'll get a 0. So it's a very sadistic kind of a love story here between x and y. So this is what we call about we say additive inverse. We say that every number has an additive inverse. Okay? This statement basically says that there exists some y जिसमें कोई भी नंबर ऐड कर दो हमेशा 0 मिलेगा. Now this first statement is true, but the second statement is false. ऐसा कोई नंबर तुमको नहीं मिलेगा जिसमें कोई भी नंबर ऐड करते जाओ तो हमेशा तुमको 0 हो जाए. Alright, so let's say you start with y equals to 2, then x equals to minus 2 के लिए हो जाएगा, but for all x नहीं होगा. Alright, so if you just change the order of for all and there exist, it makes a whole lot of difference to the statement. Okay, so the order also matters. For all and there exist also matters. So my question to you is, now I'm going to give you two statements. Statement 1 is, there exists x such that for all y, x into y becomes 0. And statement 2 is, for all y, there exists x such that x into y is equals to 0. Okay? So you have to give me answers like which of these is true. You can give me answers like if you feel this is true and this is false, you give me answers like TF or FF or TT or FT. Okay, so those are the kind of answers I'm looking for in the chat box. So what do you feel about statement 1 and statement 2? Which of these is going to be true and which is going to be false? Or both of them true, both of them false? So Ajit, Aryan and Kiran say true, true each. Nivya is also for true, true. Adityan also says true, true. Anshika is also true, true. Diksha, true, true. Okay. Jane also says true. Simi is true. Okay, so that is, yeah, Anshika, you're right. Any number can be, any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Yeah. So yeah, that is essentially the answer here, that you can multiply any number with 0 to get 0. Okay. So this is, yeah. Okay. All right. So all of you got this much correct. So this is basically the essence of importance of these things. So the reason why I do this part is because when you read any mathematical textbook, there will be a lot of for all and there exists. And when you read it, and if you are unable to make sense of it, it becomes very daunting. Okay, so this statement is true because you can take x equals to 0. So there exists some 0 जिसको तुम कुछ भी number से multiply करते रहो, it becomes 0. Also this x becoming 0 here gives this thing to be true as well. So both these things are true. Okay. So that's the importance of order of appearance of these things. Okay. Now, how this negation travels. Okay. So I showed you that for all x, there exists y such that x plus y equals to 0. So this is a statement, let's say. And I am interested in negation of this statement. So how does this negation travel? So we saw De Morgan's law and we saw that negation changes for all into, negation changes conjunction into disjunction and vice versa. Here we'll see that negation, when it travels, it converts for all and there exists into each other, vice versa. Okay. So negation of for all x, there exists y, x plus y equals to 0. Okay, so when this negation travels here, this for all becomes there exists. So there exists x such that negation of there exists y such that x plus y equals to 0. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is negation of for all x, there exists y such that x plus y is equals to 0. So suppose I have to show this thing, that this negation is true. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to disprove this statement. So disproving this statement is basically proving the negation of this statement. So to show this negation, what this statement means is her x ke liye there exists a y such that her x ke liye there's a additive inverse for every number. What this means is, this thing is basically saying that there exists a number जिसका additive inverse नहीं है. Okay, so there exists some number which does not have an additive inverse. So this statement basically in words says that every number has an additive inverse. Right. So so this basically implies that if you want to disprove this thing, then you find a number जिसका additive inverse नहीं है. So there exists a number x such that negation of there exists y such that x plus y is equals to 0, which basically implies that now this will travel here and this there exists will become for all. So there exists x such that for all y, negation of x plus y equals to 0. Okay, so what you mean is ऐसा कोई नंबर x है, there exists some number x such that when you add it to any number you will not get x plus y equals to 0. What this means is there exists x such that for all y, x plus y not equals to 0. Okay, so these four statements, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are all logically equivalent. So 1 is logically equivalent to 2, which is logically equivalent to 3, which is logically equivalent to 4. This is something which was asked in DSE long back, 2006 or 7, I guess. So it's a very old problem which was asked. They don't ask logic and proofs anymore. But I still feel it's an important topic. They used to ask it 2005, 6, 7 तक. उसके बाद से they have not asked it. It's a very old topic now. So we won't lay a lot of focus on logic and proofs. We just need to understand it and move on. Okay, we won't do a lot of problems based on logic and proofs. Okay, so that takes care of logic. Now I want to move in proofs. I want you guys to read this and try to understand this part on your own. I won't do it now. You guys read it and try to do it on your own. If you have any doubts, you can ask me later. Okay, let's do proofs now. So when you talk about proofs, there are two kinds of proofs, direct proofs and indirect proofs. So we'll see some examples for all of them. So direct proofs are, let statements P and Q be statements, and you want to imply P and Q, that P implies Q, you want to prove this, that P implies Q. Then what you say is P implies something R1, R1 implies R2 and so on till Rn implies Q. So you use this transitive logic, which is basically called law of syllogism. Okay, so this is a direct proof. So an example, so I'm going to do these things with the help of examples. So an example of this is the square of an odd integer is an odd integer. Suppose you have to prove this. So we say that n is an odd integer. So the first statement is n is an odd integer, and what you want to prove is n square is an odd integer. So you want to prove P implies Q. Okay. So if P implies Q, that is P is an odd integer, then what it implies is if n is odd, then this implies that n is equals to some number 2k minus 1. What this implies is n square is equals to 2k minus 1 whole square. What this implies is that n square is equals to 4k square plus 4k, minus 4k plus 1. Okay. Which is basically, which is basically 2 times of 2k square minus 2k plus 1, which is also odd. Right, so this is a direct proof. Okay, you start by assuming n is odd, or फिर square करो, करते जाओ, bracket खोल दो, you get that this thing is odd, right? This is something even, 2 times something. You add 1 to an even number, you get an odd number, right? So this directly proves that n square is odd. So this is the example of a direct proof. Now in exam you rarely get direct proofs. Okay, you will never get direct proofs because direct proofs सब लोग कर लेते हैं, इसलिए एग्जामिनर कभी पूछता नहीं है. What we'll get is indirect proofs. In indirect proofs, we'll see 2 ways to solve it. One is contrapositive. Now instead of proving P implies Q, we saw that P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation of Q implies negation of P. Right, so instead of proving this, we prove the contrapositive. Alright, so suppose the theorem says that if n is an integer and n square is even, then n is odd. Okay, so what we are saying is if n square is even, then n is odd. Okay, so this is, let's say P, let us say this is Q. So what we are trying to prove here is P implies Q, which is basically logically equivalent to negation of Q implies negation of P. So what is negation of Q? Negation of Q is N is even होना चाहिए ना यहाँ पे. Yeah, N is even. This N is even. So negation of Q would be N is odd, and negation of P is N square. N square is even is P, so negation of P is N square is odd. Is it similar to deduction? So you deduce something out of something. So deduction is basically implication. Okay, it's basically proving. So deduction is not a technique, it's basically a synonym of proof, and these are different types to deduce something out of something. Okay, so deduction is not strictly speaking only direct proof. Okay, deduction could be proof by any method. So here we are seeing different methodologies of proving. Alright, now negation of Q implies negation P, which is N is odd, then N square is odd. This is something we proved in the last part. Okay, here we proved it. So this is already done. So we had proved negation of P implies negation of Q. So this automatically proves P implies Q. Okay. The next one I leave it to you, this theorem. I leave it to you. Go through the proof. Now the final thing that we do today is proof by contradiction. So in proof by contradiction, this proof employs the fact that if C is a contradiction, that is a statement that is always false, then the two statements P and contradiction basically says that you assume the contradiction of what you are trying to prove. Okay. So P implies Q. So you assume that P is true but Q is not true. Okay, what this statement says is if P is true, then Q is true, right? That is the literal meaning of P implies Q. So you assume the reverse. What you assume is P is true, but Q is not true. That's what you assume in contradiction, and then you proceed. Now this is by far the most important technique for contradiction. Now you'll see a lot of proofs that we do, and you see that most of the proofs that we do will be done by contradiction. And when you give any subjective exam, most importantly ISI always asks one proof at least in math. So when ISI asks you a proof, if it's a proof, so we are going to do around a dozen proofs during this course, which I feel are the most important proofs which are most likely to be asked. If ISI asks one of those proofs, then we're good enough for you. If ISI asks something that is unheard of, then what you can do is your first trial should be trying to prove it by contradiction. Now how it works is something we'll learn through experience as we go along this course. Every time I come, I'll do a proof in class. I'll tell you, see, this is proof by contradiction. And I'll give you a sort of nostalgia about this particular lecture, that we have done this proof by contradiction, so that you can understand this is how proof by contradiction works. Well, it's very straightforward how you build up proof by contradiction. So let's take up this example. Let A is positive. Let A greater than 0 be a real number. Now if A is positive, then 1 by A should also be positive. This is what we want to prove, that statement P is A positive, statement Q is 1 by A positive. So you want to prove P implies Q. This is what you want to prove. So what I want to assume is P and negation of Q. That is what I'll assume. So P and negation of Q का मतलब क्या होगा? A is positive and 1 by A is negative. Okay, so A is positive and 1 by A is negative. So when you assume these two things, that A is positive and 1 by A is negative, when you multiply A into 1 by A, okay, it's a positive number being multiplied by a negative number. So when a positive number gets multiplied by a negative number, the final thing has to be a negative number. But when you cancel A's out, you get 1 less than 0, which is basically a contradiction. Okay, so this is a contradiction which this is a contradiction which proves that P and negation of Q is not true, which by means of contradiction shows that P implies Q is true. Okay, so this is standard setup. You assume the first thing to be true, the hypothesis to be true, and you assume the implication to be false, and by working through the proof, you basically reach something which is a contradiction, which is obviously false. So 1 is obviously not less than 0. Okay. All right. Now after this, there's this absolute value function, which I think most of you would have done in the past. I've still written it as notes here. Now I'm not going over it right now because we are almost DSE and ISI courses being offered. So these are masters in economics courses which are very straightforward, that they give you 2 years masters. They are very mathematical in nature, and so I did so to give you a brief about me, I did my graduation from IIT Bombay, did my masters from DSE, and I'm doing my PhD right now from ISI. Now DSE, ISI, these are the top-notch universities because they offer good packages after graduation. You can expect about 15 lakh per annum starting package from DSE and about 20 from ISI. The reason companies pay so much is because it is mathematically rigorous. Okay, so the reason you get so much is because mathematically the courses are tough. Okay, you will be learning a lot. The entrance exam is also tough. But the opportunities after doing this masters are numerous. You can go abroad for a PhD. Very easy to go abroad after going from the top 4. If you are in the top 4, DSE, ISI, JNU, IG, IDR, going abroad is a piece of cake. It might take 1 year more to get. You might have to do some research work after your graduation if your score is not high enough. But eventually, if you want to do it, you will get it. Okay, then you can get. Obviously, teaching is an option. If you don't want to do private job is always an option. You can go for teaching. You can also go for a lot of government jobs, which are open only for masters in economics students, particularly Indian Economic Services and RBI grade B, I guess. There's one of the exams of RBI which is open only for masters in economics. So that's one option. One rising option these days is think tanks. A lot of think tanks, they hire economists. So if you are somebody who wants to work on policy issues but does not want to invest so much on a PhD, you can go to a think tank. Think tanks will place you under some PhDs. You'll be doing good research work, real policy work. Might be that your think tank is working with the government actually. So that is something you can work, which is very action oriented. You'll be working on the ground with the government, with the bureaucrats. So that's an option. So those are primarily the major options which people explore. And some of the less major options are like you can have your own entrepreneurship, but those things are something people don't explore a lot in these fields. That's the basic idea what you can do about it after graduating. And while you're inside, it's mostly a 2-year course. In DSE, it takes about 3 years sometimes because they are very rigorous about their checking. So you might fail. But that's normal. Even if you fail after 2 years, you'll get a job because everybody including the job market people, they know कि DSC में fail करते हैं. Failing in DSC does not imply that you are not smart. Just because you cleared that exam, which is so hard, means that you are smart enough to be given a job. So you'll get a good job. So I have had friends in DSC who had failed multiple subjects, but they had 5 or 6 job offers. Okay, and even with job, you can move abroad. By the way, like most of my friends who wanted to move abroad, they have gone abroad. Okay, so the opportunities are numerous. Mostly what I say is prepare for all the exams. Like I'm telling you, those 3 things you do on your own. Rest of the things I'll tell you what to do. We prepare for all the exams, and then at the end of it, कितने options बचते तुम्हारे पास, then we'll discuss कि DSC जाना चाहिए, ISI जाना चाहिए, based on what your inclinations are. But at this point of time, we should not waste too much time about कि DSC better है या IGIDR better है. We should not waste too much time. जब तक exam clear नहीं करा, तब तक ये सब questions waste है. So I will not waste too much time on it. Okay, what I was saying is this is absolute value problems. So this assignment which I'm going to upload. If anybody wants a class on absolute value, if you have not done it already, then so this is an assignment which I'll be uploading. You will have a time limit for it. So although the solutions are already uploaded, I request you not to look at the solutions. I'll remove it later on. I want you to write the solutions and upload it on the portal itself. Yukti, since you have paid the fees, I'll give you the download link, so you can download it and then you can print it wherever you want. Okay, coming back, if you want a session on absolute values, I can have a half an hour doubt session on absolute values, where I can teach absolute values to somebody who wants it. So we can discuss it on the group chat. We have to take that doubt session on one of the weekdays. I am available on most of the weekdays after 5:30. So we can have it on any of the weekdays, depending on who wants it. Based on my understanding, most of you have had math in your +2. So most of you should be able to do this, but don't take it lightly, क्योंकि absolute value के questions पूछे गए हैं, even in recent past. So don't take it lightly कि absolute value तो कर लेंगे, I don't want to do this. So this is an assignment which I want you guys to appear for. And then there will be a class test on logic which I'll be sharing by later tonight. So वो तुम्हें appear करना पड़ेगा. दोनों की deadline would be Friday. Friday noon would be the deadline. So you can submit this assignment and appear for the test by Friday noon. All right. I've also shared the notes for tomorrow's micro lecture. If you want to go over it once, you can. We'll start at the same time for micro tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Okay. All right. Not eligible for ISI. I'm not going to give entrance of ISI. No, you solve the past years. ISI past years are still गुड क्वेश्चन, यू सॉल्व देम, क्योंकि DSC वैसे एलिजिबिलिटी नहीं है DSC का, बट DSC के क्वेश्चंस भी उसी लेवल पे है. ठीक है, सो डू द पास्ट ईयर्स. पास्ट ईयर्स आर द बेस्ट मेट्रिक, एंड DSC ISI के पास्ट ईयर्स आर ऑलमोस्ट एट द सेम लेवल, दे आर नॉट वेरी डिफरेंट. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow 2 o'clock. You'll know. Okay, so you'll know. Okay, उसके अंदर I'll share the assignment with you. And you'll get the option to upload the classwork on the portal. Yeah, Priyanshu, it's going to be a challenge. So that's why I'm saying that we have to, if you have any issues with, let's say, absolute value, so I'll take a doubt session for absolute value separately. So we can have it on Monday or Tuesday, whatever works for you and other people. So let's take this discussion on the group chat of the application. That when do you guys want to have this doubt session on absolute value? So like I keep saying, yes, it's going to be a challenge for people who have not had math in +2, but that's why I'm starting from the very basics, so that we can remove those obstacles. but I can only work so much. बाकी मेहनत तुम्हारे साइड से आनी पड़ेगी. You have to work harder than the others because others have done that hard work earlier. So now you have to compensate for that hard work. You have to do more hard work now. So let's discuss on the group chat ki kab what's comfortable. My proposal is Monday 5:30 so that you get maximum time possible for this assignment. So if anybody has an issue with Monday 5:30, just put it on the group chat. Okay. All right, I'll end this class now. I have another class in about 20 minutes time for the old batch. So I'll take a break and join that class. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow 2 o'clock for microeconomics lecture. If you have time, go through the notes once. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Welcome, Ajit.